Hi, I'm Megan Silverthorne, school board member and running for re-election. Let's talk about charter schools. There's been a lot of talk about charter schools and what might happen in the district after the school board election this fall. The controversy surrounding the future of charter schools has generated so many questions from charter parents that my opponent had to take a pledge not to impact the partnership we built with charter schools. Now let's start with equal per pupil revenue funding, or PPR. State law says that charter schools must be given equal PPR funding, except for a qualification. Take a look at the language of the statute. So what that's saying is that a school district can keep up to 5% of a charter school's PPR funding for central administrative overhead costs. On a typical charter school PPR allocation of $4.8 million, 5% is $240,000. They could hire additional teachers. They could buy supplies. $240,000 is a lot of money for the typical charter school. The Douglas County School District doesn't do this. 100% of the money goes to our charter schools. This can be changed with a simple vote of the Board of Education. Next, let's talk about mill levy override and bond dollars. Mill levy overrides are taxes that are levied on the value of your home. In other words, they're your property tax. Bond dollars are raised when the voters give government entities permission to borrow money for capital expenditures. The current Board of Education voted to provide charters with a share of mill levy override dollars equal to that provided to neighborhood schools, which is over and above the PPR money required by state statute. This can be taken away with a simple vote of the Board of Education. State law says that districts are encouraged to voluntarily include funding for capital construction for charter schools in their bond elections. However, state statute has a lot of complex requirements, including a capital construction plan as a prerequisite for being included on a ballot measure. This plan includes a lot of requirements for justification for all of the things that charters may want, including why sources other than a mill and bond aren't adequate. After all of this, the district may deny the request if its assessment of capital needs rank the charter school below a neighborhood school with no appeal process, only the opportunity to address any issues raised by the board. Even if the district agrees to allow the charter to benefit from the election, state law provides that the costs of the election can be borne by each charter school that's to receive money from that election in proportion to the amount of money it's to receive, unless the district and charter agree otherwise. So, for example, if a charter school is to receive 10% of proceeds from an election, then the district may require the charter school to pay 10% of the election costs. And finally, a district may require a charter school to submit its own ballot question if it wants to raise mill levy or bond dollars. In that case, the charter school would bear the entire cost of the election. The Douglas County School District doesn't do any of this. We don't make our charters jump through hoops in order to get on the ballot with our neighborhood schools. This can be changed with a simple vote of the Board of Education. In fact, the board has already done this. In the 2011 mill levy and bond election, the Board of Education voted to include charter schools in the proceeds had it been successful. We were the first Board of Education ever to do this. Future school boards may choose not to include charters in future elections by simply not mentioning them in any proposed ballot measure. Next, let's talk about charter applications and renewals. Colorado state law says that school boards have the power to enter into charter contracts. Districts authorize both the initial charter contract and all renewals after that. A district can revoke a charter or choose not to renew a charter. Although a district is not allowed to impose a moratorium on the approval of new charter applications for schools within the district, in other words, they're not allowed to not hear new charter applications, a school district may still choose not to grant a charter. The charter must appeal to the State Board of Education within a certain amount of time to overturn this local decision. Overturning isn't guaranteed, but it's also not uncommon. State law also discusses renewal procedures for existing charters and grounds for non-renewal and revocation of charters. These standards include whether the charter has committed a violation of any of the conditions of their contract, whether they have failed to make adequate progress toward academic achievement, whether they failed to meet generally accepted standards of financial management, or whether they violated any provision of law. Most of these provisions are not well defined in statute. A charter may appeal to the State Board of Education about their non-renewal or revocation. There are 2 rounds of appeals permitted, but on the second appeal, the State Board's authority is limited. After it notifies the charter of its reasons for recommending that the charter not be renewed or that it be revoked 15 days ahead of time, the local board can take action to non-renew or revoke a charter. This can be accomplished with a simple vote of the Board of Education. Next, I'd like to talk about location, collaboration, and incentives for asking charter schools to locate where it's most advantageous for the district. The district provides incentives for charter schools to locate in areas where it needs schools. The district provides charter schools with land it already owns. The charter school can build on it, and the district will retain ownership. In the event that the charter school is unable to pay its capital costs, or if it closes, the district can resume control. State law neither prohibits the district from nor compels it to offer charter schools this incentive. This is a good partnership approach that the district has chosen to practice. Board Policy DFC was written in 2012, and it outlines DCSD's policy for circumstances under which a COP can be used for building a new charter school. Charters can be incentivized to locate in an area that's advantageous to the district by receiving certificate of participation proceeds that will fund their new facilities' capital construction. Certificates of participation are tax-exempt government securities used to raise funds to improve and construct buildings or purchase equipment. COPs are used to raise money in lieu of bond dollars. The district is not required to offer COPs or any financial incentives to charter schools. Until this Board of Education, no DCSD policy on certificates of participation for charter schools even existed. District policies governing COP proceeds for charter schools can be changed with a simple vote of the Board of Education. Lastly, I'd like to talk about purchase services. Charter schools can contract with the district for services. These services can include anything from legal to transportation to special education. State statute dictates that the amount to be paid by a charter school in purchasing any district services will be proportional to the number of kids that attend that school. The district offers an advantageous rate for services to charter schools. Rather than being at the statutory rate, it is at cost. The district can change this rate at any time to the maximum amount allowed by state statute, or the district can choose not to offer these services at all. This change can be accomplished with a simple vote of the Board of Education. So you've just seen 8 ways since 2009 that the district has chosen to go above and beyond for charter schools. The district won a Pioneer Award from the Colorado League of Charter Schools for its exceptional relationship with charters. It's arguably the most charter-friendly district in the entire state. I don't have to take a pledge to keep this relationship strong. I'm proud of the collaboration we've built with charter schools.